Hello and welcome to another Big Orbit Cards unboxing video. I'm Chris and today we'll be looking at Eldritch Moon intro packs, and this one is Shallow Graves, the blue-black zombie one. So should be interesting. Let's crack it open. Surprisingly easy to get into. So we have 60 card deck, and in there is 2 booster packs, which we'll look at a bit later. So let's see if I can open this. Alright, so you've got the Learn to Play rules reference card. It's always useful. But yeah, what you're more interested in is the cards, probably. So the promo foil in this is Newscraft Mob, so 6 mana zombie creature. When it enters the battlefield, it enters the battlefield with 5+1/+1 counters on it. Whenever a player casts a spell, remove a 1/1 counter from it, and if you do, put a 2/2 black zombie creature onto the battlefield. So you're essentially paying 6 mana for 5 zombies, which is really good. That's if all of the charges go off, which you'd probably expect this to die pretty quick. But still, the threat of your opponent, or the threat to your opponent of if they cast a spell, you will get a zombie. Yeah, it can be quite nasty. So Crypt Breaker. This is a nice one as well. So 1 mana, or 1 black, for a 1/1 zombie. And you can pay 2, tap this, discard a card, and put a 2/2 zombie creature token onto the battlefield, which is really nice. Just 2 mana and tap this for a 2/2, and just use it, every turn. Or you can tap 3 untapped zombies you control, you draw a card, and you lose 1 life. So, not bad. Using your creatures as card draw. Could help you if the game's stalling out a little bit, to try and pick up something that can help you push through the extra damage. So there's a lot of zombies in this deck, and they all have like enter battlefield effects. So you this one, put the top 2 cards of your library into a graveyard, 2 mana, 1/3. Yeah, you're essentially trying to get more cards into your graveyard so that you can use your spells, like your sorceries, to pretty much drag them back straight into the battlefield or into your hand. Seagraph Scab, it's just a straight up 1/3 for 2 mana, but it's a zombie, so it's useful. You've also got Tattered Haunter, which is a spirit, so a 2/1 flyer, and it can only block creatures with flying, but it's a 2 mana 2/1 flyer, so it's you don't care about it blocking. It's there to push through a little bit of extra damage, so it's a pretty good card. Crow of Dark Tidings, so when it enters the battlefield or dies, put the top 2 cards of your library into your graveyard. So unless it gets exiled, it's putting 4 cards into your graveyard, which will help. Liliana's Elite, so it gets +1/+1 for each creature card in your graveyard, so it's a 1/1 for 3, but you've got cards like Crow of Dark Tidings that's dumping cards into your graveyard, so some of those cards will be creatures, so this will, by the time you cast it, you'd imagine it'd probably be a 3/3. Exultant Cultist, when it dies, draw a card. It's great for just sacrificing this guy. Reckless Scholar, target player draws a card, then discards a card. Pretty useful for just cycling through your cards and putting specific cards in your graveyard. Stitch Mangler, enters the battlefield tapped, but also taps down one of their creatures. So 3 mana, 2/3, it's pretty good. Lab Brute, another one where it enters the battlefield, put the top 4 cards of your library into your graveyard. You can pretty much mill yourself out pretty quick with this deck. Stitchwing Scab, has flying at 3/1, so it's odd power toughness ratio for a flyer. Normally they're 2/1s or 1/1s or higher toughness than power. But anyway, so 4 mana, 3/1 with flying, and you can pay 2 to discard 2 cards and return it from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. So that's pretty powerful, especially if you've kind of, already discarded him into the graveyard. You can just discard 2 cards, pay 2 to return him. Lamplighter of Selhoff, enter the battlefield. If you control another zombie, you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card. Again, more cycling. And Advanced Stitchwing. So 5 mana, 3/4 flyer, and you can pay 3, discard 2 cards, return Advanced Stitchwing from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. So yeah, kind of like the Stitchwing, but advanced. Then you got a big chunk of land, so Swamps and Islands. And onto the spells, put that down because it's actually kind of hard to hold. So zombies, you control have Menace, that is just, horrible. And you can pay 3, exile a creature card from your graveyard and put a 2/2 black zombie creature token onto the battlefield. Yeah, this is going to see a lot of play, I think, in zombie decks. It's absolutely disgusting, like giving your zombies Menace. Spontaneous Mutation, it's alright as a card, I suppose. Like, it's not too good. I mean, 4 mana, it has flash as well, I suppose that's an upside. But you enchant creature, and enchanted creature gets -X, -0, where X is the number of cards in your graveyard. So you're essentially taking away a creature's power, because you're going to have a lot of cards in your graveyard, so it's, no matter what the creature is, it's probably going to have 0 power by the end of this. So it's not all bad, but it does still mean they can block, and they essentially just have a defender. Cemetery Recruitment, so this is one of the big ones. Return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. If it's a zombie card, draw a card. So 2 mana, return a card from your graveyard and draw a card. That's insane. In this deck, anyway. Compelling Deterrence, I love the artwork on this. This is one of the Shadows Over Innistrad cards. Return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. Then that player discards a card if you control a zombie. Yep. And you will always control a zombie in this deck. Ghostly Wings, enchanted creature, it gets +1/+1, that's flying, and you can discard a card, return enchanted creature to its owner's hand. So if you happen to get blocked or something, or a kill spell, you can discard a card to get it back. It's pretty good. Boon of Emrakul, you can pump up your creatures if they will survive the -3, or just kill off one of your opponent's creatures if it's toughness 3 or less. So, pretty good. Murder, destroy target creature. Yep, it's not work if you enjoy it. A little bit expensive for hard removal, but still, you need some kind of removal, so why not Murder? Succumb to Temptation, it's pretty nice. 3 mana, draw 2 cards and you lose 2 life. It will keep your engine going, basically. Throttle, yeah, not bad. -4/-4 until end of turn. Gets around things like Indestructible, so it's alright. And Liliana's Indignation, put the top X cards of your library into your graveyard. Target player loses 2 life for each creature card put into your graveyard this way. Yeah, you could straight up kill your opponent with that, if the circumstances are right. So, an interesting one. So, yep, that's the deck. And we'll quickly move on to the booster packs. So the idea of the intro packs is you get the 60 card deck and the 2 booster packs as well, and you're supposed to play a couple of games with the deck as it is, and then open your booster packs to see if you can find things that will sort of help you to kind of improve your deck, make it more consistent. So you're essentially looking for blue and black cards with this deck specifically, but if you get others, you know, that's fine too. So yeah, Enlightened Maniac, put a 3/2 colourless Eldrazi Horror token onto the battlefield. So 4 mana for 3/4 stats. Succumb to Temptation, you could put another one in. There was already one in there. Some extra card draw. Cultist Staff, some nice equipment. Tattered Haunter, you could put another one of those in. Midnight Scavengers, this is one of the new cards, like new types of cards, I should say, because they're all new cards. It's a new set. So when it enters the battlefield, you may return target creature card with converted mana cost 3 or less from a graveyard to your hand, and it has Meld. So Meld is a new mechanic. So it's a 5 mana 3/3. But if you also control Graph Rats, you can flip it into a double card. So there should be another card that goes up top here as well. So the Eldrazi Horror, I can't remember the name of it. The name's on the other card. So it has Haste and Menace. Oh, Chittering Hosts. Okay, so when Chittering Hosts enters the battlefield, other creatures you control get +1/+0 and gain Menace until end of turn. So it's pretty good, actually. If you can get Meld to work, anyway. Mercurial Geist, a nice card. So it's a 4 mana, 1/3 flyer, but when you cast an instant or sorcery, it gets +3/+0 until end of turn, and works multiple times. Unsubstantiate. It's a very control-y kind of card. So 2 mana, return target spell or creature to its owner's hand. Not bad. Yeah, that's all you can really say. It'll do the job. Repel the Abominable. Mirrorwing Dragon. Ooh, very shiny. It's not actually shiny, but it's a mythic. So 5 mana, 4/5 for a dragon. And dragons obviously fly. So whenever a player casts an instant or sorcery spell that targets only Mirrorwing Dragon, that player copies that spell for each other creature he or she controls that the spell could target. Each copy targets a different one of those creatures. So it's actually a very, very interesting card because you can, buff your own creature. So you buff the Mirrorwing Dragon, and then it spreads the buff across your entire board. Or if your opponent tries to kill Mirrorwing Dragon with, say, a murder, it will kill all of their creatures as well. Yeah, it's a hilarious card. Very interesting one, and a really nice one to get in an intro pack booster. So that was a good first pack. Let's see if we can do even better with the second. So Cemetery Recruitment, you could put a 4th one in there if you thought you needed it. Cathar Shield, Enlightened Maniac again, Certain Death. Destroy target creature, its controller loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. Very, very expensive removal. I suppose you could put it in if you really wanted to. It took the Horrid Swarm. Ooh, Grizzled Angler. Quite like this card, mostly because of the flip side is amazing. So, Grizzled Angler, 3 mana, 2/3. That by itself is pretty good, to be honest. Or you can tap it to put the top 2 cards of your library into your graveyard. Then, if there's a colourless creature card in your graveyard, transform him. So that tap effect is fairly useful in this deck, although you're not running any colourless creatures, so you would never flip him. So, probably not. You probably wouldn't run it, but he flips into Grizzly Anglerfish, which is amazing. So a Grizzled Angler turns into a Grizzly Anglerfish. And he has 4 power, 5 toughness, and it's in Eldrazi Fish. And you can pay 6, and creatures your opponent control attack this turn if able. So you can force them into attacking to give yourself good trades. So it's pretty good. Or at worst, you're just paying 3 mana to flip into a 4/5. 3 mana 4/5 is great. Mornwillow. So plant skeleton, 3/2 with haste for 3, and has delirium. So when there are 4 or more card types among cards in your graveyard, creatures with power 2 or less can't block. Not too bad. Emrakul's Influence, Fortune's Favour. So target opponent looks at the top 4 cards of your library and separates them into a face down pile and a face up pile. Put one pile into your hand and the other into your graveyard. An interesting card, actually. Also, that looks a little bit like the Joker. So yeah, 4 mana to potentially give yourself, I don't know, that's why it's such an interesting card, because there's like so many different ways it could actually go if you actually played it. So Emrakul's Evangel is the rare. So human horror for 3 mana, 3/2, which is pretty good stats for 3 mana. Sacrifice, tap him, sacrifice him and any number of other non-Eldrazi creatures, then put a 3/2 colorless Eldrazi horror creature token onto the battlefield for each creature sacrificed this way. So if you've got a bunch of like 1/1 tokens, you can just tap him, sacrifice the whole board to get bigger tokens. So, and there is the Eldrazi horror that we've been talking about so many times. So yeah, not bad packs actually for the intro pack. The deck's pretty nice, and you could easily add a few of those cards into it to make it more consistent. So yeah. And remember, you can buy and sell all the cards you've seen and the rest of the Eldritch Moon set on our website, bigorbitcards.co.uk. And feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll see you next time for another unboxing video. Thank you very much.